If you use all three tips I talk about in this video, you'll be able to speak English more fluently, you'll enjoy speaking English, and you'll have better conversations. When you speak English, you probably think in your native language, translate in your head, and then say what you want to say. This can make speaking boring, because there's a lot of mental effort involved when you do speak. So that's why the first tip that I'm going to give you is to think in English. So how do you think in English? Well, there's two steps that I'm going to give you that will get you started. Firstly, you're going to want to pick a simple task that you do every single morning. This could be laying in your bed, brushing your teeth, going for a walk, maybe making breakfast. It's a simple task that you do every single morning. And the second thing is, when you're doing that task, that's when you're going to think in English. An example of that could be, when I'm laying in my bed, I'm going to tell myself, I'm going to think in English. So in terms of what you should think about, it doesn't have to be complex at all. Just think about what you're doing in the moment, what you did yesterday, and what you're going to do today. With the example of laying in my bed, I could think to myself in English. Right now, I'm laying in my bed. Yesterday, I played football with my friends. Today, I'm going to go for a walk and then go to work. And as you do this, you'll naturally start to think in English more and more. And eventually, you can do it with another task. So, if I just start to think in English when I lay in my bed, I can start to think in English when I brush my teeth, and when I go for a walk, and when I make breakfast. And soon enough, you'll be thinking English all the time, which will make it so much easier when you want to speak. Instead of translating in your head, you'll just be able to think and then say, which makes it so much easier to speak. But even if speaking comes easier to you, you might still be shy or afraid when it comes to speaking, which is completely natural. But that can be fixed with the second tip, which is speaking to other people who are also learning English. Because when you speak to other people who are also learning English, you don't feel scared or embarrassed about messing up, because they're also going to be messing up. Like, if I have an accent and I don't have perfect grammar, and I mispronounce some words now and again, I can't make fun of someone who does the same thing, because you're on the same level. And when you feel comfortable speaking English and you don't have to worry about being embarrassed or being afraid, that's when you're going to use more interesting vocabulary. You're going to try and say a lot of things that you wouldn't have said if you were speaking to someone who was fluent or native. And when you try new things, when you use new vocabulary, you try to say new things, you're going to make a lot more mistakes. And when you made those mistakes, you're going to be able to learn from them quickly. And you're going to make more mistakes than you would if you're speaking with a native speaker, because you don't feel pressured or embarrassed or shy about messing up. And that's a huge thing. Even though nobody will make fun of you, when you practice with someone who can't make fun of you, it takes away that fear. And if you speak to someone who's also non-native and they're also learning, you start to realize, oh, he's not making fun of me because of my accent or my grammar. I wonder if someone else would make fun of me. And if you speak to a different person after that and they don't make fun of you, and a different person after that and they don't make fun of you, then you're going to start to realize that when you mess up, nobody wants to make fun of you. And so be more confident speaking English, which means you're going to enjoy it more and have better conversations. So how do you find someone to practice English with? Well, there are tons of free communities online. I'll put mine in the description of the video. You can literally just go on Google and search free English community online, and you'll find people to speak with there. Then if you don't know what to say when you join these communities or how to message people, I'll leave a message you can post and a message you can send to people in the description of the video as well. And you might be naturally are going to be shy to do this because you're asking a new person for something. But you just have to remember that you're both learning, you're both on the same level. It's not like they're better than you and you're there begging for help. No, you're on the same level. And speaking will help both of you. So it's not like you're just begging them for help. No, speaking will help both of you. So in a way, you're helping them improve as well. And one tip I'll give you for this is pick someone who doesn't speak the same native language as you. When you find a partner, find someone who doesn't speak the same native language as you. Because say my native language is French and I find a partner who also speaks French, we're probably going to spend more time speaking in French than actually English, which isn't going to help both of us. But if my native language is French and I find someone whose native language is Chinese, then we're going to be forced to speak in English, because that's the only language that we'll both understand. And that's going to help both of us learn. And like I said, when you're speaking with someone who's non-native, you're not going to feel any pressure, you're not going to feel afraid or embarrassed to be perfect with your words. It means you're going to try and say a lot more new things, which is going to make you make mistakes. But those mistakes will help you learn. There are going to be some words and phrases that both of you don't know, which is completely fine and natural. But to make sure that you don't end up making the same mistake over and over again, and it starts to get ingrained in your mind, I'd recommend using the English dictionary or just any website where you know the information is going to be correct. So that if there's something that you're both unsure about, you can go over there and check it to make sure you don't keep making the same mistake. If you can speak with someone who doesn't speak the same native language as you, and isn't a native English speaker, for just 5 minutes a day, your English will start to improve by so much. But there's one more thing that you can do that will help you speak in English better and think in English better, and that's reading. You've probably heard about reading a lot, but you might not be sure what books to read or how exactly you should go about it. Well, there's 3 important things when it comes to reading. And the first thing is making sure that you enjoy the book. There have been so many studies on it, but the result is always that the person who enjoys the book ends up learning more because they end up reading it more. It doesn't matter if it doesn't have complex vocabulary or it's not very applicable to everyday language or it doesn't use a lot of everyday language. The person who enjoys the book more, they read it more, which helps them learn more vocabulary. So that's the most important thing when you're picking a book. Don't worry about picking a complex book or a serious book or a book about a certain topic. Just make sure that you enjoy the book. That's the most important thing. The second thing is, if you can, read a book that's in a series. If you read a book that's in a series, this will give you context. So it will help you to pick up more words and more vocabulary because you won't be too overwhelmed by going into a new story. And the third thing is, pick a book that has 2 to 4 new words per page. When a book has 2 to 4 new words per page, you won't feel overwhelmed because, there's so many new words, I don't understand the book. But you can still be confident that you're learning new vocabulary because there'll be at least 2 new words on every single page that you haven't heard before or you're not sure about. See if you can find a book that you really enjoy that's in a series and has 2 to 4 new words per page. Your English will improve by so much. If you're not sure where you can find some books or you want some books to get started, I've put some books that I enjoy and some online libraries in the description, so you can go and check them out. They're all free. If you can start to think in English, speak in English, and read books to enjoy, your English will improve by so much. If you want to find someone to practice English with, I'll leave my free community in the description, and I'll leave some book recommendations and a message you can use to get started.